Hello, my astrology friends. This is Lada from astrolada.com, and today my guest is Krasi Attasio, who is a sidereal astrologer, means she uses the Babylonian zodiac, and she will talk to us about the November 2023 astrology. And this is a very grave moment we're in, Krasi. Hi.
Yes. Hello, Wada. Hello, everyone. Indeed, very, very interesting times, Wada. We are supposed to speak about November 2023, but we mentioned previously something very interesting, which we decided to start with, right? These are certain cycles which are describing the events on Earth. And I came across amazing research made by Russian scientists who found correlation between the solar sunspots, solar cycles, solar maximums, solar minimums, the solar activities, correlation with the historical events on Earth. Before speaking about that, because we will be mentioning, of course, the next year, as the next year is like a peak, so not only solar maximum, but historical maximum, we can say. Let's speak very briefly, Wad, about the sun. Exactly what we just discussed with you. The sun as described by our Bulgarian master being Sedunu. When saying Bulgarian, let this not limit people's minds and say, oh, this is valid for Bulgarian. No, Master being Sedunu is known all over the planet. And he is the one actually who came in very specific astrological period to introduce us to the new age, the new era of the Aquarius. We are at the gate. Astronomically, we are at the gate of Aquarius. So when we speak about Master being Sedunu, don't think about Balkans or Europe only. This is about the whole Earth. So Ben Sedunu is describing the sun as very magical. So the sun is benevolent. We need a little bit to restructure our minds when we speak about the sun, because in the Vedic astrology, they consider the sun malefic, which I cannot really accept very much, you know. So the sun is, he explains that the surface of the sun is hot, but inside the sun is gorgeous, beautiful nature, pure, clean waters, cleaner and purer than the purest water which we have on Earth, amazing nature and benevolent, very high hierarchy beings. And then he says that when there is increased solar activity, like solar maximum, solar activities like increased number of sun flares or solar spots.
Sunspots, yeah, sunspots.
Always there is increased activity on Earth. In terms of what? On one hand, this is benevolent because you have increased births, like more human beings are coming on Earth, maybe as a compensation, because on the other hand, you have more wars and economic crisis. And we are not speaking about specific country. We will not be specifying here because it has to do with the whole Earth. But increased fertility, increased birth rate. This is one. And then I'll mention something very beautiful, and we spoke with Wada. These are videos in Russian, but with English subtitles. So for people who want to watch, this is beautiful, because this would definitely increase your faith in the Creator. Doesn't matter which religion or philosophy you follow. Doesn't really matter. The Creator is one. So this is about the prophecies of the Russian angel called Vyacheslav. This is a small boy looking like a true cherub angel who was born in 1982 in Siberia, Russia. And he died only 10 years after he was born. And he came to help people. And this is not one of these prophecies which never come true. No, you just, if you only follow his life, time, the gorgeous, the purity, you know, of his lifetime. So he was explaining exactly the same about the sun, that the sun on the surface is hot, inside is what Master being Sedunu said. And he specifically also predicted the events that we live in, but I let people watch it. Whether we can send.
Yeah, you mentioned that he said clearly that Russia and Ukraine will go into war, but he said that the big event will be a war in the Middle East, starting in Israel. And that was predicted 30 years ago or more. So
Yes.
I will put a link below for anyone who wants. You can read the English subtitles. I'm going to watch it as well because I was fascinated by what Krasi told me. Those movies were made long before all this happened. So you'll see. I can't wait to see it. But for anyone who is interested in that, and we don't want it to be doom and gloom because he gives a lot of hope and faith to people, and that how everyone will be, the people with faith and love in their hearts will be preserved, and how it will be, don't worry, it's not going to be as scary as you think, and so on. So, but thank you, Krasi. Thank you. You always come up with such interesting sources of information and esoteric insights for us. And by the way, I want to mention that Krasi is starting to accept readings for 2024. She's giving a big discount for 2024 reading. Instead of $250, it will be $150. I'll put a link below again in the description. If you want to order a reading with Krasi using Babylonian astrology, this is the one she uses, the Babylonian zodiac, the ancient astrology, the actual constellations. There is a link below to contact Krasi. And now we can start talking about whatever you have prepared for us.
Yes, briefly, before we start November, just briefly, these things have to do with 2024. Since we'll be reading people's horoscopes, but not only. This is globally for Earth, Solar spots, Wada. So this Russian scientist, he was analyzing historical events as of 1755 up until 2000, because I don't know if he's still alive. I think not, actually. And he found this correlation. And I will list in a moment some of the historical events, but very briefly, not all. I have my own list with historical events which happened during maximum of the solar cycle. People who really want to follow these solar cycles, yes, with a telescope, certainly I don't have. I sold mine because I preferred always, like the Babylonians, to watch with naked eye. But when you want to follow the solar cycles, NASA is just putting online the active solar activities. So the interesting thing about this year, Wada, we entered this 11-year cycle. So every time we enter 11-year cycle with a maximum, and the maximum is when we have the most active times. We entered this cycle in December 2019. Guess what happened then?
Oh my God, yeah.
I leave to people to remember what happened in December 2019. And guess what? The solar peak did not arrive yet. So the solar peak, when we have the most of the solar flares, was prognosed to take place around the end of 2025. But guess what? It's happening in the middle of 2024.
Wow.
Yes. So it would happen a little bit earlier. It means that indeed year 2024 will be very, very interesting. We will see, of course, when I read horoscopes, I'm already trying to see where these solar activities, how they impact the horoscope. And you can see this, there is a way. But in addition to that, I wanted to tell you, this particular, it's 11-year cycle, started December 2019, and with the peak now in 2024. In addition to this, of course, we have many other historical, astronomical events, which is that sidereal Uranus is changing position. Now he's in sidereal Aries, he's changing sign. We have many very interesting, astrological events for 2024. Briefly, I'm only going to go through 6 of the events. And of course, look, 1789. Great French Revolution, Wada.
This was every time that the solar spots were most active, like it will be in 2024. Okay.
Exactly. Look further. I will not mention all of them because there are many, but just the most significant ones. 1830. Sweet baby. 1830, revolutions in Europe, France, Poland, Germany, Italy, Greece. Then we continue. Miwa. Revolution, 1905-07, revolution in Russian Empire. Revolution in Cuba, 1957-59. Islamic Revolution of Iran, 1979. I'm missing many. People can also chase this historically. Fall of Berlin Wall, 1989. 1991, collapse of Soviet Union. Arab Spring, 1910, 1914. 1930, 1914, revolution in Ukraine, Wada.
1914 was 40 or 14. That's when the Second World War, First World War started as well.
2014, excuse me. Why am I saying 19? I'm very sorry.
Okay.
1959 revolution, the great Islamic revolution in Iran, 1979, when everything was changed. Then you have more. Conversion of Eastern Europe to socialism, 1946, and many, many more. This is just to illustrate the times when you had the solar flares, the active cycle. Now, these things can be seen astronomically, and it is called officially by NASA solar cycle 25 that we entered now in 2019 in December. Just to say, for those that are interested in, you want really to follow this because it's amazing. When you start digging into this, you will be absolutely mind blown. It's very interesting. But the thing is that I never like to search for correlation in the contemporary science, but this one is also officially the same as our own research, can be seen. So this is just briefly. And now the thing is, we are furthering into interesting times, but we should not forget one thing which gives me peace, Wada. We signed our contracts for these specific times. So we cannot, we knew. We were prepared.
We wanted to experience it, and we came with the right set of tools for this. Otherwise, we wouldn't be here.
So if we are afraid, this would just destroy this will destroy the benefit that we can actually gain from this path that we chose to be on, So this is briefly about this. I thought of sharing because it's amazing. And the more you dig into this, the more you will be, my God,
I'm definitely going to research this now.
Research it. Start from solar cycle 25 of NASA, just to have the basic information of how this actually looks like, and then you'll see. Yes. So I guess we can look now into the month of November, maybe, Wada?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, okay. Well, in November we have interesting events again, of course. The most interesting is Saturn, who becomes direct. Here again, I changed a little bit my point of view. I would always think when Saturn is retrograde, it's so terrible. Wada, actually, in so many horoscopes, the retrograde Saturn is less harmful than Saturn fallen, detriment, invisible. Retrogression of Saturn doesn't look to be so malefic. Even slows down the karmic lesson which he has prepared for us. I think he's a little bit more malefic when he's direct. And on the 4th of November in Sidereal Aquarius, Saturn is becoming direct in the first degree, are approximately in the vicinity, of Fomalhaut. It will be again, he becomes direct to fulfill the spiritual karma for us. To speed up, if you want, the karmic lessons, because when he's yes, I like the fact that Jupiter is making harmonious sextile, Saturn is making harmonious trine, almost exact trine. Mars is making to Saturn a harmonious trine from Libra, from the place which Saturn loves, and this will make us practical. People who have good aspects of Saturn and Mars, even better aspects Saturn Mars, are very strong. I believe this will give us strength practical approach, So things are not so bad. In the meantime, in the moment when Saturn becomes direct, Venus is making aspect. So it will not be as heavy as we thought. In the meantime, we spoke in previous recording and also now that the lunar nodes Rahu Ketu moved out also into Pisces and Virgo. With this, they brought with themselves they took and brought with themselves the eclipses into Pisces, Virgo for the next 18 months, 2 years cycle. So this is also another change, for us. We'll be looking at the eclipses of the next year. Now, the thing is, of course, many changes, but nothing is new under the sun. Only the events which take place will have a little bit of different way of, different look, different layout, if you want. So, yes, many things are changing. We have 2 eclipses, of course, which will have an impact. In the previous video, we mentioned they will have impact for minimum 3 months and 10 days. Because
carries into November, yeah.
So, yes, they will have impact on November. To tell you honestly, when eclipse was so near and when you need to do very important new beginning, especially if the eclipses are taking place on the axis of Pisces, Virgo, Libra, Aries in your horoscope, postpone important beginnings, postpone. Doesn't matter that in November we don't have eclipses. The eclipses are too near. They happen on the 14th of October, 28th, 29th of October. So this is just a very brief overview for the month of November. And we can start now with a little bit more detail. Of course, we do as usual. We look both at the sidereal perspective and also the tropical. So if you have sidereal ascendant, Aries, this will be tropical Taurus. And also if you have moon in Aries, you can also, tropically look at Taurus. So just to repeat, to be more specific, this is for sidereal Aries or moon in Aries, or if you're following the tropical modern astrology, this is Taurus. For you, Saturn is becoming direct on your 11th houses. This is actually not bad because 11th house is good in astrology. This can even speed up financial matters. But of course, on the other hand, depending on how Saturn is placed in your horoscope, you may need to be a little bit more attentive, careful with children, and also with friends. Could be that you see the true faces of people who call themselves friends. In addition, your ascendant ruler Mars will still in November be still invisible in your 7th house. So you may need to be a little bit more careful, loving, patient in your romantic life. This wouldn't be a month for new agreements, new contracts, probably not. In the meantime, Venus is making good aspect to support your spiritual activities, to support your creative work, to support even your creative, your talented work, finances. Jupiter is on your ascendant all the time, also very good for you. I think these are factors which save you tremendously. And the most interesting stuff is with Saturn, who comes direct on your 11th house. So the main movement which you may experience is through finances. But of course, be a bit careful with children, a bit patient and careful with friends, and also in your romantic life. And now we look at people who have sidereal ascendant Taurus or moon in Taurus, or if you're following the modern tropical astrology, this would be Gemini. Now for you, Saturn is turning in November direct on your 10th house. You have to be careful a bit, because from there he's squaring your ascendant. So be careful a little bit with superiors at work, with your projects, with your plans, in general, with institutions. Be a little bit careful. But on the other hand, Venus is helping very much. You find peace at home with parents through the placement of Venus. Mars on your sixth house. In general, your career place is a little bit to be careful with subordinates, with people who work for you, who share your routine environment, and be a little bit responsible for your health, for like short, sharp complaints conditions. But in general, I think you shouldn't be afraid. Venus is softening, Jupiter is softening all these influences, but it's important to take into consideration their presence. And also, indeed, also for you, the month is not very appropriate for new beginnings. But I wouldn't recommend for anyone to do very important new stuff, like new projects, new initiatives. So, and now we look at people who have sidereal ascendant Gemini or moon in Gemini, or if you're following the modern tropical astrology, this will be Cancer. Now for you, in November, Mercury is moving from this powerful placement where he is in now, where he was very powerful, exalted, visible on your fourth house. Now he will be moving in November on your fifth house. But there he can support your creative activities, talented work, but also, communication, talents. Be a little bit cautious with children, because Mars in fallen state is also in this placement. But Jupiter is softening the situation, so I don't mean to make you worried. Just be a little bit more careful. Saturn turns direct on your ninth house, which is actually where you can experience movement, speeding the processes of your studies, spiritual work, communication with people abroad or travel abroad. But in the beginning, be a little bit more cautious. Watch and see how the energies would look like. But in general, Saturn direct in Aquarius on the ninth house can be brilliant for your spiritual growth, for your studies. It can make you progress in your studies, in completion of education, and so on. Venus is benevolent. She can support your communication. She can support improvement of relationship with brothers and sisters, writing, teaching, and so on. So I see no bad aspects in your horoscope. And now we look at people who have sidereal ascendant Cancer or moon in Cancer, or if you're following the modern tropical astrology, this will be Leo. For you, now, for November, the first appearance of the moon is in a very interesting placement, which shows importance of home, importance of parents, importance of justice, if you want, importance of your own, your own space, your own business, yourself. Also, the direct motion of Saturn is happening right on your eighth house. And this actually is emphasizing on finances, which you probably expected from unexpected sources, the finances of others, the finances of partnerships, finances of not usual sources like court cases, like insurances and whatnot. You can have movement like fastened results if you want. But in general, be a little bit more responsible for your health. Also, Saturn, when direct in your eighth house, can bring you very good results when you research the occult, when you are digging into secret knowledge. So this can be very benevolent. He can speed up projects and work in your occupation because he's harmoniously aspecting Jupiter on your 10th house. So you can experience a little bit of improvement there as well. In the meantime, Venus will be on your 2nd house. This is not bad for your finances, but it's a little bit restricted by Saturn. So it means financially you'll be fine, but the needed discipline, time orientation is also needed. Now we look at people who have sidereal ascendant Leo or moon in Leo, or if you're following the modern tropical astrology, this will be Virgo. For your Venus is on your ascendant. In the meantime, Saturn is turning direct on your descendant. In the beginning, this motion of Saturn can be a little bit critical. Watch and see. Be careful loving in your romantic life. Be careful with agreements. Be careful with partnerships a little bit. Venus is big blessing on your ascendant also financially, and she receives harmonious trine by Jupiter. So this is very good for you. It saves you when you travel. It supports your studies tremendously, supports your spiritual work, so teaching work. So this is very good. Be a little bit careful when you do short distance travels, when you communicate with people, with brothers and sisters. Be a little bit careful. And yes, be a little bit careful with in your romantic life and with partnerships. But for the rest, I think you're okay. And now we look at people who have sidereal ascendant Virgo or moon in Virgo, or if you're following the modern tropical astrology, this would be Libra. Now for you, your ascendant ruler in the month of November will be on your second house in Libra. This is fine. Mercury is very green, doesn't have any very powerful specific dignities, but he can support your finances. He receives aspect from Jupiter. He receives strength from Saturn, a sextile from Venus. So this is actually not bad. Financially, this wouldn't be a bad month for you, definitely. This even can support communication with family roots, with parents, and also, in the meantime, Saturn becomes direct on your sixth house. This can improve a little bit relationship in your routine environment. Be a little bit careful for your health, like a little bit more responsible, and stay away from conflicts, because in the beginning, Saturn can still be a little bit critical when he becomes direct. So be a little bit diplomatic, careful in your routine environment, and responsible for your health. A bit, not with worries, not to be afraid, because Venus makes good aspect. So nothing is really so scary. And now we look at people who have sidereal ascendant Libra or moon in Libra, or if you're following the modern tropical astrology, this is Scorpio. Now for you, Venus will be on your 11th house. She's fine in Leo. I love Venus in Leo. She's gorgeous. But she receives aspect from Saturn. This will say that you have your normal financial time, financial flow, but with the restriction of Saturn, everything would mean that this may require a little bit more of discipline, time orientation, a little bit more work, a little bit more costs and expenditures indeed. In the meantime, Jupiter is beautiful on your 7th house to support your romantic life, your relationships. This is very good. In November, Mercury comes on your ascendant. And actually, this is fine, but he makes aspect with Mars, who still will be on your ascendant and invisible. This would say, still Jupiter is supporting your romantic life, but be still a little bit more careful, like diplomatic, loving. Also, with Mercury and Mars on the ascendant, make sure that every decision you make, you're very balanced, very careful, not impulsive. But for the rest, you will be okay. These are the small areas where you have to be a little bit more careful. And now we look at people who have sidereal ascendant Scorpio or moon in Scorpio, or if you're following the modern tropical astrology, this will be Sagittarius. Mars, your ascendant ruler, is invisible on your 12th house. It is a bit to watch out, to watch out for your health, for secret enemies, for eventually for conflicts. Make sure that because we're in control of our emotions, that you remain, smiling, joyful, that you don't let yourself be melancholic. But Mars can give you very good drive to be for spiritual activities, to spend time in a temple on your own, to meditate, to work on your intuition. So this is good. Venus makes harmonious aspect to your ascendant ruler. She is supporting your everyday, your job, your career, with the opposition from Saturn, who becomes direct on your 4th house. This would say that still, even though Venus is very beautiful, of course, on your 10th house, and she receives trine from Jupiter, and this is brilliant, still restriction from Saturn a little bit. So especially in the beginning of the month, November, watch out a little bit, because this is like you may have the blessing of Venus, but Saturn is who's carefully bringing in the karma. This would say, be careful, very diplomatic, very disciplined in your career place, especially diplomatic, especially careful. This is not a month for new beginnings. It is just to maintain the routine, but with very much of like attention for detail. Also at home, be a little bit careful, diplomatic, you know. Mm, Jupiter is supporting your everyday routine, your health as well. But like I'm telling you, especially in the beginning of November, watch out and be specifically diplomatic at work, but also at home. And yes, attentive to parents, specifically loving, attentive to parents. And then we have people who have sidereal ascendant Sagittarius or moon in Sagittarius, or if you're following the modern tropical astrology, this would be Capricorn. Now for you, the first appearance, the first direct motion, why I say appearance, excuse me, the first direct motion of Saturn is happening on your third house. Very good, you know, for studies, for travel, for, let's say, if you have unsolved issues with studies or communication with brothers and sisters. When Saturn is direct, he can speed up a little bit, you know, the karmic. But you can make use of this, like truly improving the relationship with brothers. With also, this can help you and support communication projects or commerce, especially if Saturn is good in your horoscope. If he is not good enough in your horoscope, when your planet leads to a bit of more discipline, time orientation, he will become good in your horoscope. Venus is trining your ascendant, fine for travel, for spiritual work, for teaching, for media work, for commerce, very good. But Venus Saturn opposition always means a little bit more of expenses also for you. Jupiter on your fifth house is super to support your children, super for creative activities, even for finances. But make sure that any financial decision you make careful, with very balanced mind, double check, triple check. This is due to Mars Jupiter opposition, to the direct motion of Saturn and other, you know, things. But for creativity, for spiritual work, for creative, talented work, gorgeous, you know. Also financially, the month doesn't look bad to be bad for you. Now we look at people who have sidereal ascendant Capricorn or moon in Capricorn, or if you're following the modern tropical astrology, this is Aquarius. For you, your ascendant ruler is turning direct. Personally, for you, this can speed up projects, results that you're expecting, financial, personal, also related to, you know, your own ideas, your own goals. So this can be benevolent. Financially can be fine, especially if Saturn is good in your horoscope. This can cause you both a little bit of more expenses, but also financial gains. Can be very supportive when it comes to esoteric work, researching, finding the truth, and so on. Be a little bit cautious when it comes to career, communication with superior, new projects. You may need to be a little bit more careful indeed. Otherwise, new spiritual experiences, very benevolent, you know, would be the month. Not very benevolent for travel, but very good for, like you may have change in financial situation, a little bit more expenses, but also some movement around financial deals, expectations, and so on. And now we look at people who have sidereal ascendant Aquarius or moon in Aquarius, or if you're following the modern tropical astrology, this is Pisces. Right on your ascendant in November, in the beginning of November, Saturn becomes direct. This should be okay for you, because if you felt that things are not moving, you are in a slowdown, you don't know really what to do for the moment, like you're not sure where things are heading, you will get clarity, first of all, on one hand, and secondly, you will, like things which were delayed may be may become a bit, may take a totally new pace, if you want. Maybe you may have suddenly, finally, some movement. In the meantime, Venus is supporting your seventh house, your romantic life, but still be diplomatic, be careful, be very balanced in your romantic life, in partnerships, in agreements, because especially critical will be the first week of November. Later on, you have much clarity on where things are heading. In the meantime, Jupiter is good on your third house, supports commerce, communication. But in terms of travel, the month is not super, and make sure that you're very balanced when it comes to communication, commercial work. When it comes to negotiations, make sure that you're a little bit more careful. But don't worry, good aspect from Jupiter trine towards Venus on your seventh house, sextile to ascendant. So you have a good protection, but still be a bit careful for the things that I mentioned. And then we have sidereal ascendant Pisces or moon in Pisces, or for people who have said who are following the modern tropical astrology, this will be Aries. Now for you, your ascendant ruler Jupiter is on your second house, and this is financially fine, but make sure that you make very balanced, careful decisions, like with balanced mind, with checking well everything. In addition, the great change for you is the movement of the lunar. Now it's Rahu on your ascendant, the head of the dragon, and Ketu on your descendant, the tail of the dragon. This is fine, very interesting. You certainly have changes in relation to your goals, aims, sense of purpose, what you really want to do, your spiritual awakening. This will be very interesting next 2 years for you. You also may need to be a little bit more balanced, careful in your romantic life with these movements of Rahu, Ketu, ascendant, descendant, because you will see how many things will start changing for you, your goals, your, many things, your spiritual interests, experiences, and everything. Saturn becomes direct on your 12th house. This will give you clarity on your hidden enemies, for example, but also be responsible for your health. But Venus is supporting your routine, everyday environment with the people which surround you. She will be helpful also for your, let's say, such routine deeds like administration or visiting institutions. Venus can be very supportive, but still you have to be very organized, very balanced, and responsible for your health. And during the next 2 years specifically, be balanced, careful when it comes to romantic life and partnerships in general. So this was briefly for the 12 ascendants.
Thank you so much, Krasi. Sorry. Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. And again, if you'd like to contact Krasi, I'm putting a link. Sorry about that. And yeah, I'm looking forward to having you back again next month, Krasi.
Thank you, Wada. Thank you, everyone. All the best.
Bye-bye.